City News on TV Rotorua is proudly brought to you by Rotorua Central.
Kia ora Rotorua, ahead in tonight's bulletin. Long-time head of Waiariki Institute of Technology's Engineering Department, John Walls, hangs up his tools. The Charity House auction is on this weekend, and Bay of Plenty Rugby has released a new strategic plan to take it through the next 2 years. Long-time head of Waiariki Institute of Technology's Engineering Department, John Walls, hung up his tools yesterday after nearly 28 years at the Institute. An official farewell was held where colleagues cited Mr Walls' massive contribution to Waiariki's engineering technologies. At the event, he told reporter Kitty Danielle that seeing young people succeed was satisfying and kept him going in the job for nearly 3 decades.
It's a pretty big department that we now have. Lots of tutors, lots of students. I love them all to bits, but they drive me crazy sometimes. But that's really what's kept me here all the time is just seeing these students out in industry, got jobs. They own most of the garages around Rotorua and the Waiariki region. They're either service managers or foremen or apprentices. And it's really great to walk down the street and say, "G'day Woolsey, how you going, mate?" You know?
And the Waiariki Charity House auction is on this week, with locals encouraged to get along and bid on a bargain. The Charity House project brings together Waiariki building and design students and local business to a project that ultimately benefits the local community. Auctioneer Phil Hereford says Professionals is honoured to help the Auction House project as the money raised goes to Rotary Rotorua Sunrise and into the community.
They are the recipients of the proceeds or the profit from the sale. There are still costs, of course, and with an exercise as big as this, but any of the profits that we achieve on that day, that is then administered by the Rotary Club, and then it gets distributed out to the community, people that apply for grants and the likes.
The Waiariki Charity House auction is on this Sunday at the old Placemakers location on Tenai Road. Proceedings get underway from 12 noon. The Kala Bar in Nongataha is growing in reputation as one of the city's best live music venues, hosting many of New Zealand's top hip-hop, R&B and reggae acts. Promoter Janina Khan says she's personally worked hard on renovating the venue of the family level up to a level accepted by performers.
It was actually something that we always wanted to pursue, live music, but we actually didn't think that we were going to be one of the bigger live entertainment venues. And with help from my cousin Moffy, who done all the renovations here in Patukoba from 1814, with the changes that we did, we were able to host the bigger concerts.
Sammy J and Swiss are 2 of New Zealand's most popular hip-hop artists, and they're performing at the Kala Bar this Friday. And Janina invites locals to a special free concert being offered on New Year's Eve. You can contact the bar for more details. In sport tonight, Bay of Plenty Rugby has a new proposed strategic plan to take it through the next 2 years. CEO Mike Rogers says the plan is a reflection of the union's vision of Baywide Bay Pride, unifying and inspiring the Bay of Plenty. Mr Rogers says 4 key tactics have been identified as priority areas and involve growing sustainable income, strengthening the community game, improving representative team success and expanding the game. He says much of the plan is aligned with New Zealand Rugby. A consultation period will now take place, offering clubs, schools, commercial partners and other major stakeholders the opportunity to provide feedback. The final strategic plan will then be presented at the union's AGM in March. To your weather update now. Tonight, fine with westerlies and an overnight low of 7. Tomorrow, Thursday, fine with late cloud, westerlies developing, a high of 19 and a low of 12. And the outlook for Friday, occasional rain, Fresh westerlies easing, a high of 20 and a low of 11. The marine forecast for Lake Rotorua, westerly rising to 15 knots in the morning with waves less than half a metre, and it will be mainly fine. Remember, for program listings and other info or to catch up on city news, you can visit our website tvrotorua.co.nz. Still to come in tonight's show, we talk with District Councillor Glenys Sarank about the proposed Rotorua Culinary and Arts Festival. We visit Roto Vegas Gym, and we're at the Porphyry for new BOP District Commander Superintendent Andy McGregor.
Well, we're down here at the old but the new, of course, the Sir Howard Morrison Performing Arts Centre, as it's now known, is right in the middle of the city, and that's exactly what it's all about. It's always good to have a catch up with the lovely lady who's in charge of driving a lot of the events for the next 12 months or so, and probably further on than that, is Councillor from the Rotorua District Council, Glenys Sarank. Well, as I say, always nice to have a catch up, and lots to talk about today, and some things that are kind of hot off the press. I don't want to give too much away yet, Glenys.
No, I can give you a couple of hot off the press.
Exclusives to TV Rotorua. Anyway, we do appreciate what you're doing, and I know as part of the new council and so on, a lot of the portfolios were distributed, and yours was part of yours was the creative communities aspect.
Yes.
I guess the obvious question is, how's it going?
Well, it's been exciting, Wayne, because there's so much going on. We've got the Children's Art House well down the track that we're going to open hopefully in the government gardens and the old caretaker's cottage. We've got the Performing Arts Centre. We've got to work out what changes we might make, if any. So we've got a working committee working there.
And
so
the name, let me just interrupt very briefly, the name obviously brand new. Is it catching on?
I think it is.
It's a good move.
It's a bit of a mouthful for ticketing. So, advertising it's the Howard Morrison Performing Arts Centre, but rather than the old convention centre. But I think what it does too, it distinguishes this building. It was the convention centre, then we built the event centre, and it was a bit crazy having two buildings known as the convention centre. So I think if we can get the performing arts going in here, it will be great for Rotorua.
I'm detecting a little bit of a sort of a new challenge with this portfolio, a bit of entrepreneurial flair coming out, is that right?
Well, it's a bit up my line really, because I've always been involved in musical theatre, and I've always been involved in the advertising and procuring leads, procuring people that we need to take roles. So
it's a perfect fit.
It's a real good fit for me. I don't think there could have been anyone better.
Absolutely. Well, they say that the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Anyway, let's get into some of the things that we can start getting excited about. That's everybody, families, etc. For 2015. So first in, first served. Let's talk about what's excited you.
Well, one of the problems for Rotorua has been the winter months, having really good, strong events on that attract people over the June, July. So we've gone ahead and procured, which I'm delighted about because I was directly involved, the New Zealand Brass Band Championships, which will be the 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th of July 2015, followed of course by a wonderful new event, the Food and Wine Festival.
So
food and arts.
Food and Arts Festival. Yes, it's very easy to get into that cliche of food and wine, but it'll be a bit of everything anyway.
Exactly.
But what a great idea. Let's look first of all at the Culinary Food and Art Festival. What's involved there, and where did the idea come from?
Well, the idea came from a group of people led by Bridget. You know Bridget, who leads the night market. She's very involved, and it's in its early days yet. We have to work out, get an interest from people to come and show their culinary skills. But judging by the TV programs alone, and people I know who are absolutely devoted to them and won't miss them for anything, then I think it will be very successful. And along with it, we're going to have performing arts, and static arts, so everything will be going over those 3 days.
It's a great combination, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
I mean, basically we know Rotorua's is full of talent artistically.
Yes, yeah.
So adding the culinary side will appeal to a lot of people. But as you say, the TV coverage of cooking programs and cooking
just
competitions
amazing.
has given people a fresh appreciation of how sometimes it's easy to do.
I mean, discussion on food even sort of dominates social discussion, doesn't
That's
it?
right.
You might be out somewhere and somebody will say, did you see the program the other night with Nigella or whoever it might have been? And this centre will be perfect for it.
Absolutely.
Because there's plenty of room, plenty of space for demonstrations, and I imagine they'll use all the foyers and the banquet room as well. So great.
The place will be transformed.
Yes, it will be. Well, and in 2 weekends in a row.
Is it timely to ask people who may be watching now who've got a bit of time round about that time who can help us? Or putting legs on these things is always difficult.
I'm very open to anyone that would like to help at all. They just have to ring me, and I'd be only too happy to accept their time.
Well, you're doing a wonderful job, and I know you're loving the portfolio.
I do. I love it because it's my thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's really my passion. And like people play golf or go to rugby. Well, I always loved theatre and the arts, so it's just great for me.
As we said, it's a perfect fit.
Yes, it is. Nothing better.
Keep up the good work, and we look forward to those 2 events later on. And
so
of course,
am I.
if anyone can help, if you get that message, if you can help on either of those 2 events, the Culinary Arts Food Festival, etc., or the National Brass Band Championships, all about 2 weekends ahead of apart from each other, but pretty close. If you can help, get in touch with Glenys at the council, and I'm sure she'd be most grateful. So thank you indeed for your time.
Thank you, Wayne. Always a pleasure.
Well, hello there, Rotorua. Since 2006, there has been a gym called the Rotorua Boxing Gym here, helping our community. Aaron Warren next to me has helped over 1,000 Rotorua students, plus more, to grow, be confident, and be the best that they can be. Aaron, there's a program that you run, and it's quite an interesting program because obviously it's had quite a bit of success. What makes it a good program, and what is the program about?
Basically, the program is about, it's called a champion made, and we believe that in life, if you can be a champion in life, that's more important than boxing. But the program is really about influencing kids to do the right thing in the community, at home and at school, and we work hand in hand with teachers.
And you use boxing as that tool to help. How does that work in with it? Because you said that you help them to make better choices. How does that work with the boxing?
Well, I think the boxing is a vehicle where the kids get excited. It's like a playing ground. So they put on hand pads, skipping ropes, we have portable boxing rings and all that. So it's like a playground to them. So once we getting them active is the most important thing. There's a lot of kids that don't do exercise, but we slowly entice them into putting some gloves on, turning a skipping rope, and that sort of thing, playing games, telling stories, those sort of things.
And how do you identify the students or children who are selected for the program?
That's selected from the schools. So the schools will either give us all the tutus or they'll give us academic kids, but we encourage the schools, please give us all the bullies and all the kids that have been bullied, so we can actually get them working together as a team. And that's a team, getting them as a team is most important, and they sort of heal off each other, so to speak.
Okay, all right. So it's a program about healing by the sounds of things. Now, when it comes to the program, what activities do they do? What is it that if they're fresh off, not knowing about boxing or anything like that, what stages do you take them through?
We always just take them through the basics in boxing. We don't teach them too much skill. If they show a lot of determination, discipline, dedication on the program, then we transfer them into the gym and give them scholarships, which are free scholarships supported by the gym, and
Oh, okay. Now, Aaron, you've produced about 36 national champions in your time as a boxing tutor. Tell us how that must feel. You know, is that a result of the program, or is it that you're running personal training sessions as well?
Yeah, well, I don't actually personally run personal training things because I'd rather we spread our wings and give everyone the opportunity and try to create a group environment which you'll see the individuals flourish in a group environment. I think that's the important thing, is because kids, they're very competitive, whether they're running, skipping or whatever. So we find that if you have them in a team environment, that sort of creates more, they can use their own flair.
It's wonderful. Now, what have you got coming up in the pipeline?
On the 6th of December, this Saturday coming up, we've got a World Championship, Rotorua Vegas World Championships. So we've got 6 World Championship title belts up for grabs, and we've got a lot of businesses competing against each other. Overweight people that have really trimmed down, lost 15, 20 kilos, and that's they want to jump in the ring and have a go. But I think the main aim was just to get people active, and at the same time they're supporting us, so it works hand in hand. So we're going to do a lot more work with corporate people and other people that want to be helped too.
Okay, and so how did that come about, and how do people get onto that program, or onto the fight, the championship?
We did advertise it in the Daily Post, and we had 129 nominations. So it was 129 people that wanted to compete, people that haven't done it before. And probably about 60% of those were females. So it's very interesting.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. Now, for anyone who's out there in the Rotorua community who would like to join your program, how do they contact you?
I think probably the best thing to do is just look up our website, Rotorua Vegas Boxing Gym website, and then if you've got kids out there that you need a bit of a hand with, or some discipline, or to support you, we're also running free programs for kids, which we have done for 9 years. Free of charge. They'll be after school programs. But but a lot of the schools that want the programs in the schools, they are actually fully sponsored by our First Sovereign Trust, which we've been very blessed from them to believe in us to deliver the program that's happening now.
All right. Well, thank you so very much for your time, Aaron. It's been an absolute pleasure. There you have it, Rotorua. Aaron Warren here is in the business of helping everyone to reach their full potential. The Bay of Plenty welcomes a new district commander, Superintendent Andy McGregor. We're here at Ohinimutu to welcome him in a pōwhiri for today. Welcome to Rotorua, Andy. It was quite a beautiful pōwhiri in there, wasn't it?
Oh, it was fantastic. I was absolutely, it was humbled. It was just great, and the greeting, the welcoming was fantastic, and the people there just made me feel so welcome.
Let's get to know you just a little bit more. Where are you from originally?
I'm originally born and bred in Christchurch, and you may ask, well, what's a Christchurch boy sort of applying for a job here in the Bay? There's a lot of links. I've worked around the country. I've worked in Gisborne as an example, where we did a lot of work with the Bay of Plenty Police, and even back then I thought this would be a great place to work. My father actually grew up in the Bay in Mokai back in the 1920s and 30s. I think it was a timber town back there. My kids, my eldest daughters lived in Ohopi for a couple of years, and my eldest son lived and worked in the Bay in the forestry industry for about 4 years.
Oh, so you've got lots of ties and connections up here.
Yeah, no, definitely. And every time I come up here, I think it is a great place to live. And I just look at what they've achieved in the Bay over the last couple of years. It's fantastic. And you just get a good sense when talking to the management team here, the staff. You get good vibes about the place, and good things are happening.
Oh, that's good. Good vibes. I like that word. So, Andy, what's your focus? What's your vision?
My focus really, and the first one's around iwi partnerships, and the second is around safer families, so family violence. With and that's the focus. And by a focus, I mean we really got to sort of look at this. There's a lot of good things been happening in the last few years. You have a look at the partnerships that police have developed with iwi, fantastic. I think we can use that as a foundation. There's a strong foundation there, and we can actually move on that and go forward, which I believe is fantastic. I think we got to really listen to what Māori are doing and what they're saying. What we've done in the past hasn't worked. And I think utilising the whānau ora approach, not just dealing with the offender, but looking at the whole home environment that the offenders are coming from. How can we make a difference there? Working with the parents, working with that whole environment. The second priority is around safer families. So I suppose the big thing on everyone's minds at the moment is family violence. Okay, how do we deal with that? We've come a long way since where we were. We're improving all the time. Are we there yet? No, we've got a long way to go. We're doing some good things with victims, but we can learn a lot more. I don't profess to be an expert in family violence. I don't have all the answers, but there's a lot of people around with great ideas about what we need to do. So we've got to provide that safe environment for the victim, but we also need to do a lot of work with the offenders. How can we actually stop them committing that violence against a woman? And that's very important because we want to turn them around too. And I think lastly, most importantly, we need to work with the children in that home environment. Basically we need to tell them that what they're observing these horrific events, it's not the norm. There is a good life out there, and we need to tell them, and show them what a good, safe, nurturing home environment is like. If we can do those things, I think we're going to stop a lot of our youth getting into the youth justice system. Okay, so they know what the good life is, what good activities are, and they're not attracted by that sort of the other side. I think we can also stop a lot of that intergenerational crime families, the issues we've got there, and most importantly, I think stop that perpetuating cycle of intergenerational family violence. But we can't do this alone. It's a partnership approach. And it's not only with the state sector, other government agencies, it's with the community, and especially with iwi. Listen to them, what do they got to say? Because what we've done in the past sometimes hasn't worked.
So crime prevention is starting in the home?
It definitely is. It's right from before the child is born. And all the way through to that preschool stage. Sometimes when police get involved, we're already at the bottom of the cliff. The things have happened. How can we actually work with a lot of other agencies, with the community around actually providing a lot of support, a lot of guidance to the parents, the mothers, the fathers, before the baby's born. So they know what good looks like, around the health, what health is available, around the education, etc.
So rather than coming in at the end when the crime is already committed, come in at the beginning to help prevent it in the future, and utilising all the organisations in our community that are already set to do that but just need to be pulled together by having an organisation like the Rotorua Police on board.
Dare I say, we don't want the police telling organisations what to do, but it's about working together, I think, and it's coordinating all those activities, because we're all here. We want a better outcome for, especially around family violence, and there's a real willingness, there's a real appetite, I think, out there to work together.
Well, thank you so very much, Andy, for your time, and it's a pleasure to meet you.
All right, thank you very much. Cheers.
That's the new Bay of Plenty District Commander, Superintendent Andy McGregor, speaking with Kitty Danielle. If you'd like to contact this show, email news@tvrotorua.co.nz, or you can phone 073488 984. Thanks for watching tonight. From all the team here at City News, ko Maria.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
City News on TV Rotorua was proudly brought to you by Rotorua Central.